which is the biggest letdowns in anime. Obviously, the letdown word, when you look it up on dictionary, is a feeling of disappointment. So, we're going to try to not come off as the worst bad people ever here and just be all negative Nancy's and complaining. But that's okay if we do, because remember, we're the Goon Squad. We're bad people. We don't care. That said, I would argue almost any artistic experience that you ingest over a period of time is, if you're thinking hard enough, you're going to have some disappointment. Your favorite show ever probably has at least a couple moments that you're like, that wasn't my favorite, or that episode was just so-so, or I didn't like that line, or that's like, you can always find things that don't meet a high bar of standard. But I think there's a lot of ways that shows can be disappointing, whether it's a show that starts off great with an awesome first episode and kind of just becomes lukewarm by the end, sequels that don't match their predecessors, community favorites that get really hyped for you and then you watch it and you're like, that was it? Classics that you loved as a kid that don't hold up 20 years later. So I think we're going to go through a bunch of examples of shows that gave us a big letdown. And I kind of want to stress, and let me know if you guys agree, is I feel like a good show can still be a disappointment, and the worst cruddy show you've ever seen could not be, because you never had high hopes. So I feel like every show we talk about today isn't necessarily a bad show. They just, were disappointing for one way or another.
Absolutely.
So who wants to start off? Who's got something on their list that they want to point to as like, when I think of disappointment, I think of this show?
I can go first.
Yeah, you go.
Want to go first? Go. Okay.
You go.
I'll start with mine because mine's a little bit silly. When I think of disappointment, I think of Yuri on Ice, but not Yuri on Ice the show, because that show is amazing and great, and I will be making more comparisons to it later. I think of the fact that the movie was canceled, and that is not the letdown that you think it is, but it is a letdown in the sense that the show itself was so enjoyable and so much fun that. And it felt like it was promising us more, and the fact that we didn't get more retroactively kind of makes the rest of the series a little bit like, that's unfortunate. But yeah,
definitely gave us all blue balls.
Oh yeah,
every one of us. That was a tragedy.
Oh, they teased for so long.
That's what I'm saying. We got blue balls like mad. They heavy like. You couldn't have given us anything else. You just rip it out from under us. It is a big letdown.
I think that is a big letdown for that franchise because it had so much potential.
I didn't even think about that, because in my mind, like Dreaming Machine, what was supposed to be the 5th film from Satoshi Kon before he like tragically passed away from pancreatic cancer, like that was a film that was storyboarded, it was scripted, it was in the works, and then he died, and they just kind of fell apart, and we never got it. You're on Ice. No one died, and we still didn't get the movie. Why?
Yeah,
why? Give it to me. Give it to me, please. I want it.
So wild. But it does lead into something that's really interesting, and why my list is going to be a little bit like weird in a lot of ways, is because I tend to forget letdowns in anime more often than not. I just sort of like move on with my life. I was like, when I was constructing this list, and I feel like process is actually kind of interesting for some people to discuss, and I don't know if we discussed process and how we constructed our lists. I came up with mine in like 2 minutes, but that's just because I forgot what the topic was for this week. But when I was thinking about it for those 2 minutes, I was like, all right, let's go to dropped anime, because that's most likely to be a disappointment. I just never finished it. And I went through it, and all the dropped animes, I don't know why I started them in the first place. And so that made it hard to see why they let down. The second one was, let's go through my list of completed animes and look at all of my like low scores, and a lot of that I was just like, I think I expected some of these. So I have a couple of those, but it's so weird for me to be so hyped, and then by the end, I'm so unhyped. It feels like it's usually such a slow and progressive letdown, but also like I'm at this point in my anime watching career outside of the podcast where I just watch the things I know I'm going to enjoy. So it's kind of hard to be let down more often than not at my age, I guess.
Andrew's just too good. He knows, he's like a connoisseur. He can tell at a distance. He can clock a show as being good or bad and doesn't fall into the trap that Pancake and I do of being like, oh, JoJo Part 7, it's gonna be so good, it's gonna be so good, and then it comes and we're like, oh man, that was a bummer. But
well,
I try not to get
we all
hyped,
know I
try and I fail.
Well, we all know I have a misogyny system for how I judge isekai.
You do, and it never lets you down.
Yeah.
So...
Never lets you down.
Or
But
gives
speaking
them.
of which,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just jump to one. JoJo Part 6. That was a
Yeah.
letdown for me. Especially coming after Part 5, which was just such a good, goofy, fun time. And then Part 6, it just kind of left a little bit of diarrhea on the sheets for me. A little sad. And I'm trying not to get too excited for Part 7, but man, it's hard when you love JoJo.
Yeah.
So that was a huge letdown.
Were you expecting it to be a little bit more crazy, a little bit more wild, or were you expecting it to be like less weird? Was it just that
you can say the
summarily
B word,
different? Okay. No, just JoJo's weird and normal, but was it like too weird for JoJo? Was it like a different kind of weird than you were expecting? You know?
For me, a lot of it was the animation was kind of lacking for me. It just didn't give me the same kind of punchiness as previous. It just wasn't as fun as before. I don't know. And I think how it was released on Netflix really hurt it. That we kind of alluded to previously.
Fair enough.
It was just kind of I don't know, limp dicked me a little bit.
Didn't have
Speaking
the same
of limp dicks,
chemistry
Mason.
Oh wow. I was gonna say I wanted to shout out Zero Rokio in the chat who mentioned Metallic Rouge. Everything Watanabe did outside of Bebop, hey, you take that back. There's some good stuff. Like
I disagree with that statement.
Samurai Champloo's pretty good. Fooly Cooly sequels, yeah.
Carol and Tuesday is pretty solid. It was not a letdown. It may have let you down, but it did not let me down. I got what I wanted.
First one on my list has to definitely be one that I brought in all the hype myself, and I did this, which is Japan Sinks 2020. This is coming off of a monster stretch of unbelievable quality products from Science Saru and S-tier director Masaaki Yuasa. They did 2018 Devilman Crybaby. They did 2019 Ride Your Wave. They did 2020 Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. They are killing it. Banger after banger after banger. And why wouldn't I get excited? The Olympics are right around the corner. Here we are set for this Netflix drop of this Tokyo Magnitude 8.0-esque disaster story set on the brink of hype, and all my favorite people are working on it. It starts off beautiful, emotional opening music, kicks everything off splendidly. I'm like ready for peak everything. And it lost the plot, it lost the humanity, it lost the animation. Just everything of any potential quality in this show went downhill so quickly that it was truly one of the biggest disappointments in my anime career, of just being all in on this show and just getting served a bologna sandwich. It was not good.
Oh.
I don't recommend.
I have not seen this.
Good.
So
good.
I'm happy I didn't get I didn't get disappointed.
Yeah, this one's on me. A lot of the other ones on my list are a lot of sequels or stuff where a studio had a winning streak, but not this one. This one was
I think sequels was a lot of the things I ended up being disappointed with, and one of the ones I was disappointed with was Natsu no Arashi, Akinechu, because it felt like, and this is me remembering it because I watched this when it aired, the original Natsu no Arashi is this like weird esoteric like take on I think it's like I'm in my Mason phase of watching anime probably, where I'm looking for like these weird things. I think you would probably both love and hate Natsu no Arashi in a lot of ways, Mason, if you haven't seen it already. Because it is kind of weird and it's kind of silly, and the story does make sense, and it is a character thing. And then the second season comes back, and it just feels like, is this a redo of the first season? What's happening? This is kind of weird, and it just kept being weird. And I'm gonna admit it, the reason that I probably am let down is because the original Natsu no Arashi had a really banger of an opening, and that probably is what got me through most of that weird show that I may have not watched all of it back then. And season 2 did not have as a banger of an opening. And maybe that's why I'm so let down by Natsuno Arashi season 2 and I couldn't go through it. But oh man, I will show you the opening one of these days. It is a banger.
I dropped season 1 a couple episodes in. I think just when I was doing my like deep dive on everything Studio Shaft ever did. I don't remember a single thing about this show. I don't like. I'm looking at it. I see, the art and I see the characters, and nothing is ringing a bell. So maybe I should give it another
basically,
shot.
a guy goes to work at his either he goes to work at his grandparents, or he's visiting his grandparents in this the suburbs or the rural part of town, and he works in a cafe, and he meets basically this ghost girl from during the wartime Japan. I don't even know why I remember all of this, and she basically has the power to time travel. And then they meet a whole bunch of other characters, but she can time travel when they hold hands and stuff, and so it leads to a lot of random shenanigans with that. But like I said, that opening is a banger. it's such a banger, and it pulls on a whole bunch of old model, not gravure, but model magazine shots and people taking poses. And anyway, season 2 is a letdown because it didn't do any of the interesting stuff like that, and that OP wasn't a banger, so it couldn't even sustain me through.
There we go.
Yeah.
Pancake next on your list.
Berserk 2016.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think much needs to be said about it. It is a CGI clang-clanging fucking mess. It does no justice to how beautiful the manga is. It takes everything good about Berserk and says, what if we just made it bad? And that's what they did.
I mean, let's just be fair. They were faithful to his background drawings.
Yeah, and it did follow the plot. The events that happened in the manga happened in the anime. So at least I had that little kernel of well, it's still a good story, but man, oh man, it was rough.
Yeah, it was real rough. Could not finish that. Could not finish it. Just go read the manga.
Yeah.
True.
I'm just gonna shout out one of Mitz's because he made us a list, even though he fucking abandoned all of us.
Even though nobody asked, he still can't get the podcast out of his heart.
No, he said Trigun Stampede, rough to watch CG, and some annoying villains. I have not watched it, but that is what Mitsugi says.
It wasn't that bad. I guess I'd never had such high of hopes where I was I knew it was Studio Orange. You're going to get CG. That's what they do. And their CG, I like the look of it. They redesigned it, sure, but it was fine. I wasn't that disappointed.
I have a bone to pick with one of the ones he put on here. I don't think it's actually a letdown. I think it's just coming to the realization that it was never that good to begin with.
Shield Hero Season 2?
Wait, how'd you guess? How'd you guess?
I mean, to be fair, though, Andrew, as someone who did not like Shield Hero Season 1, Season 2 was objectively a whole cavern level below it. It was never as bad as it got. So it found a new low, which was kind of, if a bad show gets even worse, am I disappointed or am I impressed? That's I think, the argument we need to have.
I was surprised. Season 1, I have my issues with character and a little bit of the story, not so much with the world building, but season 2, I was just I don't even think you care anymore. I can't. You don't even you can even do enough to make me care enough to even finish. I think I got a couple episodes in, and I'm yeah, I'm good.
Arguably, I should have put Shield Hero Season 1 on my list because I did never finish it. I just got bored with that one. So, yeah, Shield Hero. Something that Mitz likes. That's for sure.
I mean,
Season 4 coming out this July.
Has he watched Season 3? Has he followed up with it? Okay, well, it's his favorite show. We're calling that now. If you're a new listener,
yep.
Mitz is someone who's usually on the podcast. He loves Shield Hero. This is canon now.
His favorite.
It's his favorite. Tell him all about it in our Discord. Join our Discord.
Yeah, let him know.